the beginning of that song was the first time I heard them, and I thought, oh, I like this sort of stuff. And it's funny how you have all these influences, but it's from the people you're surrounded with, people at school or whatever, listening to that and saying, have you heard this? And as I mentioned, when we left New York and came to the UK, suddenly there are all these bands like Yes, King Crimson, people like Elton John, people I'd never really, really sort of got into before. Elton John had Yellow Brick Road, I think was his album around that time. And suddenly I had all these other British influences, that kind of thing. Whereas I'd come over and say the Eagles are the best band in the world or whatever, And the Eagles is still one of my favorite groups, but there's a lot of stuff that you get exposed to, including classical music, which I don't know very much about classical music, but I do enjoy a lot of it. So you look at my phone, and it's a real kind of eclectic mix of tunes. So, yeah, it's kind of weird how you sort of suddenly get into something else,
Well, I was going to ask, because that Grateful Dead track was from a live album, and when they said they were in London, you put your fist in the air. I was like, were you there?
I went to the concert at Ali Pali. Yeah, that recording was done in 1972. The album's called Europe 72. But I saw them at the Alexander Palace in 1974. Deadheads were Deadheads. They would travel all over the place and then get stoned and sit there. And the Dead would play 5-6 hours. It went on and on and on. This wasn't your kind of two-hour highlight Taylor Swift in and out kind of thing. They played just about everything. But that was the only time I saw them. Saw the Dead live, if I can put it that way.
I'd like to take that back to your first show that you saw live.
Beach Boys.
Yeah, that must have been around the same time.
Yeah, probably early 70s, something like that. I think I did try and find out which concert it was, but it was Madison Square Garden. I went with my sister, who is 2 years younger, and some of her friends. And I think we sat up right near the middle of Madison Square Garden. It's a famous music venue. It's a famous sports venue right in the middle of Manhattan. It was unbelievable. And there they were, this little group playing songs that I, kind of vaguely knew and I tried to sing along with, but I didn't really know the words. So Help Me Rhonda was the only one I kind of vaguely knew. But yeah, the Beach Boys were, I guess the lineup at that time would have been pretty much, them at full strength with Brian Wilson and Carl Wilson, Mike Love, and all those. Because over the years, the band has kind of diluted itself with people dropping out or dying or whatever. So, but yeah, it was a very cool place to be, Madison Square Garden, and listening to them.
It's interesting that you mentioned Help Me Rhonda, because that's one that does stick out in my mind. My mum loves to make fun of me for the first record that I really wanted, which was the Beach Boys.
Oh, okay.
And she said, you just wanted it. And so, I think I had it on a dubbed cassette. and yeah, I knew all the words. But Help Me Rhonda's a funny one, because do you remember the TV show Alf? Alf.
Oh, Alf. No, not really. Remind me.
He was a small hairy puppet that liked to eat cats.
No, then I don't remember.
It was primetime television. It went for several years. Anyway.
and there's a connection with the Beach Boys?
I think he had a girlfriend from back on his home planet named Rhonda. And so
that'll do it.
Help Me Rhonda became part of the plot. And so that was a song that I knew and knew well.
Well, I think we have to hear it then.
Do we? Yes, we do. This is Help Me Rhonda by the Beach Boys.